Namaste. This is Renu Chamarthi from Scholastic, India. I'm here today to tell you a beautiful story. A story of hope, friendship, magic, and happy endings. We all love happy endings, don't we? So, today's story is The Enchanted Prince, written and illustrated by our super talented writer illustrator Ishan. So, are we ready for the story? Long, long ago, there was a king called Chandrasen. Chandrasen was a powerful king. He had an enormous army. But the problem was the king, everything related to the king and the army was very, very noisy and very, very loud. So one day, the king and his army were passing through a jungle. The army men, the soldiers, were very excited. They thumped their boots. Some banged on their drums. Some blew their trumpets. They made a ruckus. And to all the sound that they had created, the earth trembled. The trees shook violently. And as the trees shook violently, a nest made by a beautiful bird, a little bird, fell down with its one precious egg. The beautiful bird was so disappointed. She was so sad. She wept in great sorrow. She wept and she cried and cried. In her sorrow, the little bird cursed the king. She cursed him. "Oh, king, you will go through the same loneliness, same unhappiness that I am facing today." But King Chandrasen had no way that he would know about this. So he went back to his palace and he got back to his normal life. Few months later, the queen gave birth to the first and their only prince. But unfortunately, she died while delivering. The king was sad. He missed his wife. But then he said, "Let me pick up my child. I'm sure I'll be happy." He went to the queen's chamber to pick up his newborn child. But then he was shocked and he couldn't believe his eyes because the child in his arms was not a normal one. It was just an egg-shaped baby with just two hands and two legs. The king was so disappointed. He called doctors, scientists, very scholarly people from around his kingdom and even the kingdoms around his kingdom. They all came in and they all were shocked, they all were surprised, they all were sad, but nobody had a solution. There was an astrologer who said, "King, do not fret. This child will grow up to be the most generous and the most powerful king too." And then they named him Chandrasen. So the little egg-shaped baby was named Chandrasen, and the king had remarried and brought in his new queen Sarasana to look after the little baby Chandrasen. But did Sarasana look after the little boy? Queen Sarasana, the moment the child was placed in her hand, hated the look of the child. She said, "Oh, how ugly this child looks." And she told her people, "Never allow this child to come in front of my eyes. Lock him up." in a room. And so Prince Chandrasen was locked up in a room and he was never allowed to come in front of the queen. He was not even allowed to step out of his room. Little Prince Chandrasen grew up all alone, without friends, without anybody to talk to him. He was so lonely, he was so sad. And the only window that overlooked the garden was his window to the world outside. One day, the little bird, you remember the little bird who lost her egg? Yes, that same little bird was flying over the palace. And it happened to see the egg-shaped prince sitting all alone. Very, very sad, very, very unhappy. And she said, huh? How could this be? And she flew and flew and flew down to see who this was. At the moment she saw the little boy, she realized that this was because of her curse. At first she said, wow, my curse worked. She was happy. But the next moment she said, for what fault of his is this little baby being punished? I don't think I should allow this. So you know what the little bird did? The little bird became friends with Chandrasen. Chandrasen and the little bird sang together. The little bird shared stories about the world around. She taught him a lot of new skills and she taught him happy songs. So they sang together, they played together, and they spent lots and lots of time together. So one day, the little bird brought a gift for Chandrasen. You know what the gift is? Can you see these seeds in the little bird's hands? Yes. The little bird brought 3 magic seeds for Chandrasen. Chandrasen was so excited. He's never received a gift from anybody else until that day. So he was so excited. So the next moment, he jumped into his garden and he picked up one of the seeds and planted it. No sooner did he pour a glass of water, the plant started growing. It grew and it grew and it grew and it grew to touch the sky. Do you see this plant, children? Yeah. So Chandrasen was so excited to see the plant. He said, I am going to take a journey. I'm going on a voyage. He packed his bag with some vegetables and some fruits from his garden and he started on a journey. He climbed the creeper and he climbed and climbed and climbed to touch the sky. Can you see the sky, children? Yeah, he touched the sky and then he moved a little ahead. He walked and walked much ahead and then he reached the moon. The moon that we see from here is all white, is all beautiful. But then the moon actually was full of pits and craters. Okay, and there he was so tired. He said, how I wish there was a tree here under which I could sleep. The moment he thought of a tree, there came a big tree and Chandrasen slept and slept and slept under the tree. And as soon as he woke up, he said, how I wish I could get some good food, the royal food that I used to get in my palace. And then out of nowhere, appeared a huge thali. And Chandrasen ate and ate and ate and ate. And by the time he finished his meal, that's when he realized that, oh my God, where am I getting all this from? There's not a single person anywhere around. So where am I getting all this from? I hope there's not a demon. There's no demon somewhere around who's doing all this. Who just to trick me. And the moment he thought of a demon, there was a demon. There arose a demon right in front of him. And the demon was chasing Chandrasen. Chandrasen started running. And while he was running, he thought, oh, how I wish there was somebody to save me now. And the moment he thought that, a lady, a very old lady, held him by his hand and pulled him behind a rock. And she said, I am Luna, the old lady who lives on the moon. And who are you? Chandrasen told her his story and they became good friends. Luna, the old lady Luna, was looking for her little boy, her little son, the rabbit, who ran away. And Chandrasen helped her get the rabbit back. He got the rabbit back for the old lady Luna, and by the time he got it back, the old lady Luna and Chandrasen, when they looked down, they could see that Queen Sarasana was getting the creeper chopped down by woodcutters because she didn't want Chandrasen to come back, get back to the palace. Do you see Queen Sarasana and the woodcutters chopping the huge creeper? And the old lady Luna said, Chandrasen, you need to run now. You need to be very, very fast. Now climb down. Chandrasen started climbing down the creeper. And by the time he climbed down half the distance, do you see how he's climbing down? By the time he covered half the distance, the woodcutters had chopped down the creeper, and the creeper with Chandrasen came down and down and down and down with a thud. Chandrasen fell to the ground with a thud. And to your surprise, you won't believe what happened after that. The egg around Chandrasen, the eggshell around him broke into 1,000 pieces. And out came the little boy, just as normal as anybody else. And the king was overjoyed to meet his son. The king and Chandrasen lived happily ever after, and the wicked queen was punished for all her bad deeds. Chandrasen grew up to be the most powerful and the most generous king who ruled the country at that time. So how was the story? I hope you loved the story. You could pick up this book and read this book, and I'm sure you will love the beautiful, colorful pictures that this book has. Thank you so much. Have a good day.